under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Watching the World, and that's definitely what we do today. Earlier, we were blessed to have some 50,000 people come through to discuss a matter that's very prominent in Texas. In fact, Dallas, Texas, there was another shooting, a shooting from a rooftop that reminded us of what happened with Charlie Kirk just a couple weeks ago. And a lot of people are very interested in what happened. It was very confusing. I think 2 people ultimately lost their lives, including the shooter, the sniper. But we like to know more about what's happening in Texas. A lot of people would love to hear from someone that has boots on the ground, and that's what we have for you tonight, folks. We have a criminal defense attorney right there in Texas. His name is Calvin Johnson. In fact, you guys see Calvin every Sunday. We have a show together. And tonight he's taking some of his valuable time to come on and talk to you and explain what's going on in Texas when it comes to the shooter. So, Calvin, welcome on. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just fine, my brother, man. I'm trying to hang on and hold on and maintain, man. But it's been quite the interesting day. Of course, the shooting is very sad when anybody loses their life. We had been talking about Charlie Kirk all week, and the fact that he was shot from the top of a building. And once again, today in America, we have something else happen. I mean, we have these conversations around guns and the ability of people to get weapons. And everybody, of course, wants to be able to carry weapons and protect themselves. I get that. But I just think that everybody is not responsible enough to have a weapon. And unfortunately, sometimes that falls on deaf ears because the consequences of being wrong about weapons are death. Unlike anything else, when you're wrong about the ability for somebody to carry a weapon, and listen, I believe people should be able to carry guns for the most part. About 99, 95, 96, 97% of folks out here are okay to carry guns. But that 3%, when they go off, it's dangerous. And today was an example of that.
Right. What is the mood like there in Texas today?
It's kind of tough because you have people trying to put their narratives up. You have Texas, we love our guns. I ain't gonna lie, everybody loves their guns here in Texas. Let's be real. You rob somebody in Texas, don't be surprised if they pull out on you and they're able to defend themselves. However, it's very disappointing that this has happened today. The mood in Texas is one of some people are angry about it. For the simple fact that it happened at an ICE facility. The other part of it is, people are trying to politicize this by saying, oh, it's this group or that group. Well, at the most part, the ICE agents didn't get shot. They had a couple of the detainees get shot. So, once again, in America, in this country, we have that us and them mentality, but everybody wants to think that they're us and they're never them. And we have forgot how to be we, right? And so what happens is people are trying to spin this one direction or the other. A lot of people are angry of the fact that it happened. But after the anger comes the blame game. And I think a lot of us in America are tired of that.
Right. As I've been going to the Diddy trial, we have the ICE headquarters right next to the building, to the courthouse. So can you explain to us this building or what have you? Is it like a headquarters for the state or is it just another ICE building? What's going on?
I think it's just a nice building. It's a place where they hold detainees. When Trump decided to do a lot of these detentions and deport people, They got a number of facilities. Some were freestanding facilities. Some are newly built facilities. Some are where they bought the building, gutted it out, and started to hold detainees there. And this is a detention center place that they had been holding people out in Irving, Texas. Irving's about 15 to 20 minutes west of Dallas. Actually, Irving is where the old Dallas Cowboy Stadium is, actually, believe it or not.
Oh,
And so it's in that area, but there's a very affluent area called Las Colinas. But there's also middle-class Irving and poor parts of Irving. I think this happened more of the middle-class area of Irving where this building is at. And unfortunately, 2 people lost their lives today.
yeah. We don't hear a lot about people shooting from the top of buildings because you would imagine it's hard to get away if that's what your aim is. But it seems that Donald Trump was shot from a distance on top of a building. Then we saw a repeat of a similar nature with Charlie Kirk, and now today we see it again. Do you think this is a new trend?
I think it is a new trend, and it's concerning because each of us, as we walk into big areas, open areas where there are large buildings or large gatherings of people, we have to be aware that there's a possibility that this could happen to any of us. And therein lies the situation and the concern for me as a person. I'm not an anti-gun person. Believe me, I believe in packing the heat, brother. But at the same time, like I said, there's about 3 to 5% of the population that should not have weapons because their minds allow them to go and do some of the craziest things. Now, you can't take everybody's guns. I don't advocate for any of that either. But with that being said, I mean, it's a real fear for a lot of us. Now, you think about it. Anybody in that area woke up this morning having no idea that something like this could even happen to them. And look what just happened.
Right. Man, it's a sad moment. What do you think will happen next when it comes to Kash Patel? He's taking on a lot of heat because they're saying he released the photo of the bullets and tried to make it a political situation, similar to what happened when Charlie Kirk was shot. They turned it into, oh, this is a leftist liberal situation. What are your thoughts?
Well, the issue with Kash Patel is when he took that job, he knew who his boss was going to be. And his boss is going to be Mr. Trump. And for however anybody thinks about Mr. Trump does a good job of politicizing any major event to his advantage. He seeks to do that. People can say that he doesn't do that, but he is definitely going to point out and watch my word. If you watch the news tomorrow, he's going to point and he's going to blame the left. He's not really going to be talking about reconciliation. He's not going to be talking about we. He's going to be talking about us and them. And that's the concern that I have with Kash Patel. Kash Patel has to work for all Americans. There is not an us or them. And with that being said, because of how he has handled the job so far, you're going to have a lot of Democrats coming at him because of some of the us and them thing. And now, there's going to be a huge argument between the job that Kash Patel is doing, as well as the Democrats looking up and say, hey, you're politicizing this. You don't need to do that. Certain agencies need to just go do their jobs without politics being involved, and you're in one of them, and you need to start conducting yourself that way. But the hard part is, if in this world, if you don't appease Mr. Trump and do things the way he wants you to do them, his tolerance level is low, and he's going to dismiss you. And that's just very unfortunate because it does not allow for independent investigations, independent thoughts of a person running an agency, knowing that they got to do what's best. But if it's not politically expedient for one side, Mr. Patel can't do it. And that's just disappointing.
Would you say that this is some sort of game mentality every time something happens? Oh, this is a Republican. No, this is a leftist. They're trying to gather points of some sort.
It is. And then unfortunately, once again, it's funny, a white guy shot Kirk, and this is another guy. And then somehow the Browns and the minorities are going to get blamed for this because of the party that they're in. And I just look up and I just say, whoa, what a world we live in. Instead of all of us sticking together and saying, hey, We got to figure out a way to keep this from happening again. We're using it to bury the other side. And I'm telling you, if we continue to do that, we all lose. And I just think that both sides do some of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to absolve the Democrats for doing it either. But with that being said, it's very unfortunate. Now, I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing, Mel. I'm trying to tell you. I look up and I am losing hope for America to ever be we again. We will continue to be us and them. And I don't see any fixing that in the near future, unfortunately.
Right, definitely. So, being a criminal defense attorney, could you just tell everyone how to reach you?
My name is Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. I can be reached at 214-565-5600, or I can be reached at attorneycalvindjohnson@gmail.com, or I can be reached on my website at theywon'tletmeout.com. So that's how I can be reached, and that's how you can get in touch with me.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's always a pleasure to have you on the channel. What kind of posture would you take if a gentleman or someone actually walks into your office that has committed a crime like what we saw today?
Well, the first thing you got to do is figure out what happened. You want to figure out if they have talked to any of the authorities. You want to know where they were, what they had, and what they've done. Believe it or not, sometimes people come in my office and don't tell me whether they did it or not. I just try to defend them. But in the case that I do know what that particular person did, I would try to make sure that he did not talk to any law enforcement without a lawyer present. If he is having some mental issues, I would try to see if that's an angle. I would see if I can get him mentally evaluated. But more importantly, if the cops are looking for him, I probably would arrange to turn him in. I would encourage him to turn himself in so that people don't come looking for him. He ends up dead. And more importantly than that, I would try to ensure that he is turned in a safe environment. I would try to figure out kind of what's going on to make sure that he is protected in terms of he's safe. And some people say, well, somebody just shot somebody, somebody's dead. Well, my job is to make sure that I make sure the client is safe, make sure the client lives, make sure the client's rights are protected. And then when you look at my job as a whole, I think most of us are still going to want to find out what happened anyway. So even though I'm servicing the client, I still am making sure that our system of justice moves on. And more importantly, people got to understand, we got to make sure that there are always advocates in the court system for the accused, because it might look like this particular person did it all by himself, but he could be working with somebody else. He could be framed. There's a number of things that can happen. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you understand what your client did or did not do, what's his exposure, and to make sure that he does not speak to anybody without counsel present.
Okay. Would you say you're still worried that there may still be some shooting in the air associated with this, or you think the people in Texas have moved on from it?
I think we're concerned because one of the things you must remember, we have a governor right now that's very close to Mr. Trump. We have a very gun-friendly policy here in Texas. And when you have those kinds of combinations of things, it's a dangerous environment. There's some people down here in Texas that are mad at the immigrants. There's some people down here in Texas that are mad at ICE. There's some people down here in Texas that are mad that African Americans lost their congressional seats. There's some people down here that don't even think that African Americans or people of color deserve Congress seats. Everybody is mad at each other. Everybody is angry at each other. I even heard one of the conservative pundits or conservative people that are in social media circles really go after Jasmine Crockett using some very, very derogatory language. And I think that we have reduced ourselves and deduced ourselves to some of the lowest forms when we're dealing with each other. And this is a very, very bad place to be as a country. You got a lot of people that have guns. You have a lot of people that are upset. You got a lot of people with bad attitudes, and you got a lot of people that have the ability to use them. And that's very, very unfortunate.
Do you think that security should be beefed up on all politicians?
I think it should. It's very, very dangerous right now to be a politician in Texas. And one of the things we got to understand, we're dealing with this in the social media age, right? So back in the day, if you called somebody a name, you had to do it through their face. Now you can do it on the internet. And not only do you do it on the internet, a mob of people who just happen to follow you on the internet can support you in that, and they can start doing the same thing to that same person. I try to tell people, even though I may not support a particular candidate, whether that be Trump or whether it be Kamala, whether it be somebody else, I'm extremely careful about how I frame them, how I talk to them or talk about them. You got a lot of people that's actually out there using the derogatory language against sitting members of Congress on both sides that they're doing this. But here recently happened to Jasmine. And so when you start doing that as a conservative influencer or political person, the mob mentality kicks in, right? And now everybody wants to do it. But you got to be careful, because eventually the internet ain't the internet no more. You might have to see somebody in person. And that's a very dangerous, slippery slope in America that we're dealing with.
Right. A lot of people that come through it, definitely in the comment section, they always say they feel you should run for office or something of that nature. If you were to run, would you be worried about security and all of these violent acts?
And see, that's one of the things, and we always have people say I should run for office. I ran for office twice. I will be honest with you. I became somewhat discouraged by the process, because me being the person that I am, I'm extremely qualified. I'm a lawyer from the community. I hold degrees in political science and history. I work in the community on a daily basis. But because I was not with the in crowd and the local Democratic Party, a lot of people did not support me. And actually, I had people come after me to try to make sure that I did not win. And for somebody like myself, who've kept my nose clean, I've never tried drugs. I've never been on drugs. I never sold drugs. I've never been arrested. I come from one of the roughest two neighborhoods in the entire city. I hold multiple degrees. I'm a 25-year business owner. People like myself who are honest and straight up don't win when we run sometimes. And then when you do run, somebody like myself, if I'm running for office and people start threatening me, sometimes as a person in office, you have to have the right temperament. You got to watch what you say. You got to watch what you say back. Because at the end of the day, you have to remain safe to make it home with your family. But some of us who do run for office and some of us who win, we take threats very seriously. I tell you, I have a mindset that I have lived by. If somebody threatens me and it's a viable threat, my attitude is to go look for them before they come looking for me, because I don't want to be looking over my shoulder. And so you got that kind of mantra and attitude coming from some people that are in office, because you got these guys on the internet threatening to kill them, threatening them to do harm, threatening them to do harm to them. And then you have the job of the person that is elected. Their job is to represent everybody. Their job is also to show a certain level of professionalism. If I ran for office, I would be concerned for my safety, because I'm a straight shooter. But at the same time, maybe temperament wise, if somebody threatens me or somebody approaches me or somebody tries to do something to me, I am a human being and I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to play any games with anybody. And that's the concern that I would have if I ran for office. I would be concerned about my safety under the current environment, because remember, like I told y'all before, I'm not an advocate of Charlie Kirk. I didn't particularly care for him or his opinion because I think that he conflicted himself when he talked about certain people a certain way, even though he was a professed follower of Christ. But with that being said, when you look at what happened to him, that was wrong. Just because he said some things that people did not like, just because he got into some conversations that people did not want to have, I don't feel like that man should have lost his life. I don't feel like that his widow should have had to watch that, or his children should have had to watch that. And that's just very unfortunate. We live in an environment where being a public servant can be extremely dangerous.
Okay. So there's a rumor going around actually in the big media that basically says that there's a cell of individuals, maybe far left, that are in the deep, dark web. They're kind of working together, and that's why we keep seeing these shootings. And not only just seeing shootings, they're writing messages on the bullets. Do you think there's some there?
And see, that's the concern. If you got people on the right saying it's people on the left, and you got people on the left saying it's people on the right. And see, that's the concern that we have right now. We got that both coming from both sides. You got the left saying, hey, that's on your team. You know, y'all shot in your own basket this time. Y'all didn't shoot at the other end. Y'all made points for the other team on this one, and you can't blame us. And then you got the other side saying, no. Y'all are shooting at your own you are always shooting at the other team's basket. You're doing this to yourself. You're beating yourself. There's a lot of that talk. And I think that there are probably people on the left and the right that have the capability of doing those things that you talk about. People can talk about it's coming from the left all they want, but I think that there's a lot of that on the right as well.
Let's use a comparison of Pakistan. Initially, when the videos came out and we saw the terrible things that were happening, people were going really crazy. But after a while, you see so many videos, people kind of take it lightly. Do you think the American people have become desensitized to these type of shootings?
If you want me to be honest, I think that they were desensitized until Charlie Kirk got shot. And I'm going to tell you why. It's okay when somebody that I don't like, I don't agree with, that doesn't look like me, that doesn't go to my churches, that don't believe what I believe. Oh, it's okay when they get shot. It's not a big deal. But when somebody I can identify with, you know, Charlie Kirk, Republican, right-wing activist, professed Christian, debater of people on the left, straight shooter, having conversations, saying things that other people are thinking, but they won't say he's saying them. When he gets shot in the neck, it's a different ball game. Because one thing I can say about each of us, whether it be on the left or the right, it's okay until that person looks like you. It's okay until that person's from your tribe. And I think in this particular situation, those on the right lost somebody in their tribe, and I think it hit home. And I think it hit home to the point of why you're seeing such a huge pushback now. Because they consider those on the left, hey, they deserve to have that happen to them. That happened to them because the way that they lived. That happened to them because their beliefs. That happened to them because they're un-American. But when it happened to Charlie Kirk, America said, no, that's an all-American apple pie boy, and y'all shot him. And we ain't gonna let that ride. And I think that's just the truth. A lot of people are afraid to say it, but it hit home because a Republican Christian white guy who spoke words that many would not speak or they were thinking, when he got killed, and he got killed in such a very gruesome and open way, I don't think he deserved that. Nobody deserved that. But I think it hit home for conservatives and those on the right. And I think that's when I think it hit home. Before then, it did not hit home.
Based on all that we've been talking about, do you think it's imperative for the American people to have military-grade guns?
I don't think it is, because once again, what happens when you have military-grade guns? Then you got a lot of firepower left and right. You got some people that are going to get their hands on military-grade weapons. And what happens when that happens? We've seen in history where that happens. When we had the drug war in America, and Jamaicans had the Uzis and the Tech Nines. We saw what happens. And we know what happens when civilians get their hands on military grade weapons, not just in America, all over the country. I remember in Jamaica, Christopher Duddas. I'm a very big history buff. He was a Jamaican guy, one of the kingpins in Jamaica. But he was a drug dealer, but the people in the community loved him so much. But when they went in to go get Christopher Duddas, the people in that community had military grade weapons, and the Jamaican military and the people in the community were shooting each other up left and right. Just to use that as an example, when both sides have military grade weapons, disaster can happen. And I think that's what's happening in America right now. We have too many high-powered weapons, too many high-grade military weapons in the hands of people who they don't belong in.
Wow, that's amazing. I was in Jamaica, I think it was around 2008 when Duddas was getting arrested, and it was crazy. We were in Kingston and we had to get back to it. So that's a pretty interesting story. So let me just ask you this though. What do you think is the best way forward to kind of curb some of the violence that we're seeing now, or do you think we're just doomed?
I think we're in trouble because of leadership on one side and the lack of leadership on the other. And people will quickly point to Mr. Trump for not being a uniter. He basically said, hey, I hate my enemies. I hate my political enemies. I don't wish the best for them. And so those that don't agree with him consider him their enemy, and he considers them his enemy. The problem is on the left, you have a Democratic Party that lacks strong foundationed leadership. Right now, tell me who's the leader of the Democratic Party. Tell me who is.
No clear leader.
Point blank. Not only no clear leader, no clear message, no clear direction, and the average person that they used to represent, they have disconnected with the average person, and they have prioritized those on the far left. And so you have a lack of leadership from the Democrats, and you have poor, combustible, separating leadership in Mr. Trump on the right. We are in trouble, big time.
Okay. Here's a question that I hear rumors about quite frequently. It was two Black, I believe, attorneys that went after Donald Trump. And why was that the case? Do you think that's by design? They were used to carry out that action?
I think part of it is by design, but I also think you got to be careful in terms of calculation, right? You had Letitia James and you had Fannie Willis go after Mr. Trump. And as you notice, Mr. Trump has made sure to hit institutions that really support the education and the betterment of Black women. He has went after Black women, Jasmine Crockett. He's went after Fannie Willis. He's went after Letitia James. He is hell-bent on getting retribution on those African-American females. And I think it's for two reasons. Mr. Trump views them, number one, probably as not equals to him. He views them as they should not be metering out justice in America in the way that they're doing. And I'm not saying that I agree with him on that. But with that being said, I think that as a Black woman, when you vote 90% of the Democratic Party, you damn sure better make sure that they win. Because when they don't win, you're going to be a target. And I think that's kind of what is happening right now. I do think there is a targeting of African-American female leadership by Mr. Trump. But I'm going to add a twist to that. As a African-American female leader, you need to get your house in order. So if you're going to go after Mr. Trump, you got to know that they're coming. You got to know that you got to have your stuff in order. Fannie Willis, if you know they're coming, you got a situation going on with the guy you're dating and you're paying him, they're going to find that out. Letitia James, if you're going to go after Mr. Trump, your house got to be clean. You know dang well you had went and got some loans that you're not supposed to get in a way that you got them, and you know that they're coming. It's one of those things that you got to be aware of what you're actually doing. And I think Mr. Trump views African-American women as a problem because two of them have went after him. Letitia James is, if I'm correct, is the one who got the convictions on him. And with him, he's an alpha male. It's about revenge. And he is going to get revenge against those African-American females in Georgia as well as New York. That's just who he is. That's how he is, how he operates. And I don't think that's a good thing for this country.
Right, exactly. All right, so we have close to 600 people here. Could you tell everyone how they could contact you?
My name is Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. I can be reached at 214-565-5600. I also can be reached at attorneycalvindjohnson@gmail.com. And I can be reached at one of the best websites out there in the game, theywon'tletmeout.com. So that's how you can reach me. And also we do a show every night, Watching the World 777 with Mel and Calvin and DJ Genesis. We do it on Sunday night, 8 p.m. New York time, 7 p.m. Central time. We do a show called The Weekly Legal Review. Come check us out. Come talk to us, ask us questions, participate, comment, and subscribe to Mel Watching the World. Thank you.
All right. Yes. Thank you guys for all the support. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Delusional Patriot says, how come Trump doesn't sue anybody who accuses him of being on the Epstein list?
I think that he does have some problems when it comes to Epstein. I think that they had some kind of relationship before Mr. Epstein got in trouble. And I just think that that's a very dicey situation. I would imagine that he has a relationship with Mr. Epstein, or people that were very, very close to him have a relationship.
Okay. All right. Some people in the audience are saying we're racist. Can you combat that?
They can say that we're racist. We're having an open conversation. One of the things about Mel and I is we want to have an open conversation. And I come from a standpoint of an African-American because of what I see as an African-American. There's some people that are maybe not African-American, maybe Caucasian or Hispanic, and they're going to see things a certain way. I think that we have to be careful when we start talking about somebody being racist. I'm not racist toward anybody. I just see the world of the lens that I have to live it out of. But with that being said, I was having a conversation, and I want to have this part of this conversation, Mel. I was talking to one of my Caucasian friends and said white friends, right? We were having an open conversation, and he said some things to me, and I said some things to him, but we didn't hold it against each other. He said to me, hey, as a white man, I'm tired of African Americans always blaming us for everything that has happened to them, right? They're blaming everything that has ever happened to them on us, but look what's happening in the community and certain things we didn't have anything to do with. Then on top of that, why should I be held accountable for something that somebody did to African Americans 20, 30, or 40, or 50 years ago? He says, as a white man, I'm not really concerned about what somebody did to somebody 30 or 40, 50 years ago. I have a wife I have to take care of. I have a child that I'm trying to educate. I got a family I got to protect, and I have money that I need to make to be able to take care of my family. That's what I'm concerned with. I'm not overly concerned with race when it comes to African Americans, and I'm not overly concerned in two ways. I don't know how to explain or live in the skin that you live in, number one, but number two, I really have to prioritize my own family, my kids, and my family, and I should be demonized because somebody did something to somebody 20, 30, 40, or 50, 60 years ago. I didn't do it. I wouldn't do it. So I shouldn't have to be concerned about it. And then I'll say this as African Americans, if for those who are watching me, African American folks have got to start paying attention to what they can control it, and move on. The past is the past. Unfortunately, some of us are going to say, well, we should get this, we should get that, but they did this, they did that. At the end of the day, there's some people outside our community that don't give a flying fart about what happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and they're not going to pay for it. They have decided that right now in their lives, they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills now how they're going to pay their bills in the future, how their kids are going to go to school, and how they're going to keep their family safe. And we better start thinking the same way, because people are not going to continue to take us into account before they take their own into account. And that's just the way they look at it. Right or wrong. Do I agree with the way that they look at it? Maybe not. But at the same time, they have a right to raise their own families, their own children, and only be concerned with what's happening in their households and their ability to have their futures. So I'm extremely balanced when I make my opinions. I have conversations with people all the time. Just because we're African Americans and we're talking at times from an African American point of view, it's the truth. You know, Trump has had issues with African American women. African American women have had issues with Trump. And I think that we would be foolish not to realize that that's part of what's going on here.
All right. We have 600 people in the building. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. So let me ask you a question. How can the Trump administration address crime when they're cutting funding?
That's what I have concerns with, but sometimes they're not really cutting funding to the crime area of it. They're trying to, at times, beef up money in law enforcement. And then they want to clamp down on crime. But I think that's, once again, you got to be careful as a government. You can't run a government like a business. I mean, government at times is there to provide services. The consequences of not providing a service are either loss of life, lower quality of life, sometimes even death. And so when we have these kinds of conversations about this kind of stuff, and everybody lives in their own silo, then that's what's happening. You know, there's some Black folks that don't, or unable to view it from a white point of view. There's some white folks that don't have enough connections with African Americans, or that they don't encounter African Americans enough of their situations to even know, understand, or even care about what happens on their side, and vice versa. And so we have to be aware that that is there. And then we also have to be aware that we live in a capitalist society. People are worrying about their wives, their kids, their families, their ability to take care of their own, regardless of what color they are. So we got to be extremely careful about that.
Why do you think we don't really see, well, I guess we just don't, it's not framed that way. We don't really see white Americans shooting at Blacks from the top of the building, but they're shooting at other whites. Why is that the case, you think?
And see, I just, once again, that's something that's there that people don't want to talk about. Like I try to tell people what happened in Utah happened at probably one of the most predominantly white universities in the entire United States, and one of the most predominantly white states in the entire United States. And somehow HBCUs were getting threats when it was basically, as they say, they always say black on black crime, but that was kind of like white on white crime in that particular situation. And so you got to start looking at that and realizing that that is a concern. When we talk about crime, we always want to talk about crime in urban communities. We also want to talk about concerns in the African American community and Latino communities and poorer communities. But we also have to realize there's certain parts on the right that has been radicalized, or there are certain people that are not Black or brown that have been radicalized, and they will take it there. They will go up on buildings and shoot at people. And I think that when you start talking about this, people want to put it in that racial lens. But what happens is when you do that to Black and brown, and then Black and brown says, hey, this is a white guy who shot at a white guy. Why are y'all mad at us? And unfortunately, in America right now, the us versus them mentality is winning. And we don't see each other as equals anymore. We don't see each other as having things in common. One of the closest friends I had in law school, he was raised by his grandparents. I was being raised by my grandparents. We had two sets of very, very religious grandparents. And when I met his folks, it was just like I'd known them all my life. When he had met my folks, he felt like he'd known them all of his life, because we had the same set of values, were raised the same way. But he was Black, he was white, and I'm Black. And so I think there was a time in America where Black folks and white folks could find enough commonality to actually have some decency in dealing with each other. But I think under the current environment, Black folks and white folks don't want to deal with each other and have that commonality and have that level of respect for each other anymore. And that goes both ways, white to black and black to white.
Over the last few years, there's been so much black on black crime in the inner cities. And let's face it, sometimes you go to certain parts of the city, you're afraid to get out of your car to go buy a drink or pump gas, right? So, and especially when you go to world star hip hop, you see a lot of crazy stuff happening. You also have this drill rap where guys kill each other and then they go and brag about it. They tell the descriptions of they shot him in the head, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All of this happening, right? So we have this happening. We also have on the flip side, we have individuals put into office by Donald Trump who are trying to eradicate this. And then simultaneously, we have AI and the development. The world is advancing. It's going to be tough to get a job. So, what is the way forward in this debacle?
I'm highly concerned because in the African American community, and this is the truth that I'll tell people, we're going in the wrong direction as African Americans. We're looking to the wrong people. Our music is going in the wrong direction. Our churches are going in the wrong direction. I had somebody say, what happened to R&B music in the African American community? And I had a very interesting answer for that. Think about where most of the R&B artists came from back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Where did those people get their starts at? Church. Most people start singing in church. The R&B artists start singing in church. What has happened to African-American R&B music the last 10, 15 years? It's gone in the other direction. On the flip side, what has happened to rap and drill rap in the last 10 to 15 years? It has blown completely up. It is dominant. And so when you start thinking about our communities being dominated by a type of music that either A, is disrespectful, or B, is killing somebody, is disrespectful coming from some of the stuff that are coming out of our female rappers' mouths. It's disrespectful and deadly when it's coming out of some of the male rappers, coming out of our male rappers' mouths. So we're speaking, in a sense, disrespect and death and hedonism in some of our music. And wondering, and then we're feeding it to our kids every day, wondering why things are not going to get any better. And then on the flip side, you got folks on the other side watching World Star say, what in the world are y'all doing over there? And they're telling their families, hey, you know what? Those people over there, you can't help them. I don't want my kids around them. I don't want to go to school with you. I don't want to live next to you. We have nothing in common. We're going to stay over here. And while at the same time staying over there, you got people that may randomly climb up some building and shoot at somebody. And so it's just, we're in a very, very bad place. Whether you're black or you're white, we're in a very, very, very bad place in both communities.
Awesome. We have Udo on Go in the building. We also have that girl, Henny. If you guys want to come up, feel free. Just hit the link. I dropped it. If anyone else would like to come up and have a discussion, ask questions, give your viewpoint, feel free to do so. We'd be more than happy to share the microphone with you. Calvin, this is a good time for you to tell everyone what you do, who you are, how they can reach you.
Attorney Calvin D. Johnson at gmail.com is my email. My website is www.theywon'tletmeout.com. So when they won't let you out, you call me. My phone number is 214-565-5600.
Okay, very good. AI Medspa says, when to shut down the borders for 50 years and reproduce man and women. What are your thoughts?
Say that again.
He says, when to shut down the borders for 50 years and reproduce man and women. So I guess he's saying we need a reset for the American people.
You can say that in theory, but you can't really do that. Today's world is a global world. You got people moving all over. I just don't think you can do it. But I also think that we can work on some things in this country to make things better. But once again, we got to get back to we. We are so us and them now that it's ridiculous. We're not living around each other like we used to. We're not sitting down having conversations like we used to. We are even separated in the church. You got the black church and you got white churches. Now, sometimes you have mixed churches, but at the most point in America right now, even our church and our religion is done separately from each other, and the way we view religion is done separately. So that's a huge concern.
Okay, very good. Do you think the reason why we're getting that kind of backdraw is because of hypocrisy that people are seeing, and that's pushing them away from the church?
It is. When you see a man or a woman say something and they do something separate of what they've been preaching and teaching, people run away from the church. You see a lot of stuff happening in these churches. You see a lot of people, what they say, losing their way. And you're following these folks and you constantly look up, and then somebody is doing something that they've been teaching you not to do for years. In addition to that, there has been a cultural bend of the church. I talked to my great friend Dorothy Burton, who does this organization called Christians in Public Service. And Real Talk with Dorothy Burton, we have this conversation all of the time about church. She's very versed in religion. She went to theology school. In addition to that, believe it or not, she's a former Republican who happens to be African American. So, but she's had this conversation, and we talk about religion, and we talk about how religion has crossed over into politics. And so, there's a lot of things that are going on right now in the Black church in terms of hypocrisy. And also, there's a lot of things going on in church in general, because there is a cultural bend to a lot of these churches that are in America. And in the African-American community, there's really a huge cultural bend, because people are afraid to lose members and lose those donations. And so they don't hold on to those foundational values. So that's a huge problem in the church.
I think personally, one of the reasons why Donald Trump won the election is because a lot of people just did not vote at all because of their frustration with the Democratic Party. What do you think led us there?
The Democratic Party, and people can get mad at me all they want, they went too far left. I've even talked to people that are LGBTQ. I had a conversation with a friend of mine that happens to be gay, and he was telling me, he said, "Man, the far left went too far." And he actually referenced, he said, the trans stuff is out of control. They should not be in women's bathrooms. They shouldn't be in women's sports. And they should be limited when it comes to being taught certain things in our schools. And he says, I'm a gay person, and I understand that. And what I think has happened in that area, as well as abortion, with some folks, and in some of the other areas in terms of some of the policies when it came to policing, some of the policies when it came to social justice. Social justice is a good thing, but at the same time, you got to have the guardrails even for that. Like the defund the police stuff, that is something I never would bite off of, because I understood that there are times where people are over policed, but at times when you need a police officer, you need one. And I understand that when you don't have police officers, you're going to have chaos. And so the inability of the Democratic Party to advocate for the middle and advocate for common sense has caused a lot of people in the middle to say, why am I voting for you Democrats? You're not concerned with me. You're concerned with the person on the far left. You're concerned with the person that's going to get an abortion. You're concerned with the person on the social justice issue. You're concerned with the person that is trans, LGBTQ, and nothing against those people. But I'm a regular person. I got a daughter. I got a son. I got a wife. I need to have a job. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for college. I'm trying to pay my rent. I'm trying to have some money in retirement. You're not speaking to that. You're speaking to all that other stuff. Mr. Trump, whether he does it or not, is speaking to me. He's talking about, hey, I'll pay attention to you. I won't let this in your schools. I won't let them take that far. I'll rein them in. I'm for you. They're not even talking to you. And he's saying that to the people that are in the middle. He's saying that to the people in the center left. And he's saying that to the people in the center right. And he's saying it to the people in the far right. And what the Democrats had allowed themselves to do is the only thing they have is the middle Democrats and the Democrats on the far left. And the rest of the Democrats that were center right and center left, they stayed home. And so everybody else voted. The center right Democrats stayed home. They didn't get their vote out, and they lost because they're not speaking to the average American who's trying to raise a family, trying to feed his family, trying to keep his family safe. They got to start listening to that people. They don't need to be doing studies. They need to come out and talk to them. They need to advocate for them, and they need to put the policies to those people first instead of those on the far left.
Exactly. Make a true connection. Demetrius Calloway says, I think it's wrong for a felon not to be able to carry a gun for protection. Who says my life is not important because I caught a felon years ago, nothing to do with gun violence?
I can definitely understand your opinion when it comes to that. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that will not buy that argument. And that's very unfortunate because I feel like anybody should be able to, in a sense, protect themselves. And I hate the fact that you can't protect yourself because you have a past felony. But with that being said, it's hard to advocate for somebody who has a felony because they're just going to look at it like, hey, you got a felony, you shouldn't have that felony, you gave that right away. Unfortunately, that's the way America treats it. And unfortunately, that prevents them from being able to carry a gun. I can understand your concerns, but there's not a lot of people that are going to advocate for you to be able to carry, unfortunately.
Okay. Yates Ram says, I'm a South African. Why do you call yourself African American when you're not African? No one is called European American.
I definitely understand what he says, but my people are descendants of Africa. And when I say I'm African American, there's still a connotation that people have to understand. We did not ask to get brought here. We were forced to be brought here. And so we didn't leave Africa on our own free will. So when sometimes people say African American is because typically, even though we did not, I never stepped foot in Africa myself. But with that being said, I am a descendant of African peoples. And then when it comes to being over here in America, it's not a place that we tried to come on purpose. And we were brought here. And so that's why people in America call themselves African Americans.
Donald Trump has made a great effort to scrub America from slavery. They're trying to remove all signs of it. Why do you think that's the case?
I got that conversation I have with somebody, right? You have to understand, you have people in power. And if you constantly try to guilt them at every turn about something that happened 20 or 30 or 40, 50 years ago, they're not going to take kindly to that. And I think that from having a conversation with somebody who's white, they feel like that they're constantly the scapegoat. They feel like that they get painted with a demon brush just because of what happened 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 100 years ago. And yes, a lot of the stuff was reprehensible. But a lot of them feel like at this point now that they didn't do any of that. They shouldn't have to suffer from what somebody else did years ago. And so that's why Mr. Trump is trying to scrub history. The other concern, and some people feel like he's scrubbing history because there's a lot of pride in being able to fight for your right to be able to overcome things. And then some people will say that he's trying to weaken the mind of African American women, African American men, and he is trying to erase their contribution to America as a whole. And that's the concern that we have over here at the left side. As an African American, we are concerned about the erasing of history. And the reason why we are concerned about that, because I say, people, that if you don't know your history, you're deemed to repeat it. And so you need to understand what you fought for, who fought for you, and what happened along that fight. And I think everybody has a right to know that. But I think that when it comes to just the regular Americans or white people in America, they have felt like that they have been shamed to the hilt. And they feel like that they have been shamed to the point of where when they hear some African American people speak about racism, they feel like that those people are being racist toward them by the tone and the language and the way they speak about what happened to them from white folks. And so white folks are kind of tired of that, is what I'm gathering when I do have these real conversations with folks that are of other races, that they're just tired of being blamed for every single thing that happens. And a lot of them feel like, I didn't do something 20, 30, or 40 or 50 years ago. I'm just trying to take care of my family now. I'm trying to move forward. But y'all talk about us like we're devils. And in some situations, they're right about that part of it, because some people do talk in those terms. And I think that as African Americans, we got to start being careful about the language we use when we address them as well, because everybody's not going to take kindly to that.
Okay, very good. All right, so we're approaching the hour mark. I won't keep you too long. Would you like to make some closing remarks? And perhaps we'll come back later in the week with a new subject.
Yeah, we're going to start doing some of these lives during the week. Me and Mel have talked about this. We might shoot a couple of lives during the week, especially when current events happen. And this is one of the things that we want to try to do. We want to try to inform the public. Mel poses great questions about what's happening. And I've been blessed enough to be a 25-year practicing attorney. And I am just happy that me and Mel are having these conversations, number one. But number two, everybody that is coming on here making comments, we're thankful that you are coming on to make comments. Even if I disagree with you, I don't hate you. Even if we disagree about how we should move forward, how we should approach race, I don't hate you. I'm glad that we're coming in, having a real conversation about America and some of the concerns from the left, right, some of the concerns from black, white, brown, or yellow. I'm glad we're having this conversation. So once again, me and Mel try to be as balanced as possible. I'm not just coming from African-American point of view because I'm African-American. I come from a point of view of just common sense. And me and Mel have conversations that others are afraid to have. And I think that we want to continue to grow this platform, and we want you to continue to come on. But one other thing, please be respectful in the comment section. I mean, America right now, people want to come in and they want to talk crazy to people that don't look like them. I try not to do that. Mel is not going to do that. And we want you to continue to go on this ride with us. And we want to get back from being us and them. We want to be we again. And that's what we want to do. We want to have real conversations. We want to educate you legally. And we want to give you a place to come get your news and understand and enjoy some of our opinions and some of our commentary. Once again, thanks to everybody. We love you. Thank you for coming in, speaking with us. And we advocate for the right of people being able to say what they want, say what they feel. But always, we want to respect each other while doing so. So that's what I have tonight. Once again, Mel, thank you. Please like and subscribe to Mel Watching the World 777. And please contact Calvin D. Johnson at attorneycalvindjohnson.com. They won't let me out.com and 214-565-5600. Thank you. That's it.
All right. I'm going to close with the words of Nathan. I'm going to call Trump and tell him Calvin would make a great federal judge. Thank you, folks. And
y'all take care. All right.
the same song. Building a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Oh, 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 oh.